Today I'm going to be working in my concertina sketchbook that I made out of one sheet of watercolor. If you want to know how to make that, I will leave a link above for you to check that out. Here I am going in with some pencil marks and just kind of loosening up. I've got my Lyra 6B graphite stick to make these really bold, fun marks. I love starting off bold because it keeps me in that mindset for the rest of the piece. And I love how the marks vary at that. Here I'm spraying down some of my Schmincke Payne's Gray, which is one of my favorite colors. Going in with a flat watercolor brush, you can see that it's actually picking up some of that graphite, which is kind of cool, and I like how it mixes together. I don't want it too mixy because then it gets too dark, but I do like the subtle effects of it. Just a little bit of texture, a little bit of granulation to it, which is nice. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with some more of that Payne's Gray just to give some darker tips there to, I guess, what we're calling the horizon. I don't know. These are some pieces of tissue paper that I printed on for collage. I like this piece, but then when I turn it over, I saw that it had some metallic paint on it, which I didn't realize it had. So here I'm just ripping up some of the pieces to kind of figure out where I'm going to lay them down. So got some matte medium here and my matte medium brush. Highly recommend that you use one brush for matte medium because it will burn your brushes. You can see that metallic side there, which I didn't notice before, and it's super poppy. I love that copper tone, so we're going to go with that side. I'm going to start by brushing on the matte medium on the back, and then we'll lay it down where we want it to be. It takes quite a fair amount. I use matte medium on these. If I'm using a thicker piece of paper, I will switch to a gel medium that sticks down thicker paper better. You can see I'm going to add in just a little bit of the matte medium. One thing I will tell you though is if you add in the matte medium over that copper metallic, it is going to dull that shine just a little bit, but I'm okay with that. I think that's okay for this piece. I could always go back and paint more metallic on it if I felt like it, but a little bit of metallic goes a long way, right? So here I am with the second piece. I'm just going to overlap these a bit. And you may ask, like, why am I using these pre-printed tissue paper? I think the marks are more random when I do it this way. And also I can overlay and make marks without smearing them or worrying about them not being where I want them to be. And it also adds just a little bit of randomness to it. It makes it more dynamic, I think, and I really like adding in the tissue paper to these little mixed media collages in my sketchbook. I will leave a link to the other video that I made of the piece that I saw in the opening, so you can check that out. And if you want to see more of my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. So back into here, just making sure I get everything adhered really well. I will take a hairdryer to this, but I won't show you that because it's noisy before I start on the next pieces because you want to make sure that those are dry. So here I am adding some of these Schmincke Horon watercolors that are super granulating. These are the desert colors, and I put down the gray and the orange, and I think this orange is going to really complement that bronze nicely. So I'm just going back in with my dagger brush and painting in some of that orange, building layers and marks. Here you can see I'm adding some vertical lines to this to sort of indicate grassy areas in the piece. This was inspired by my trip to the wetlands this weekend. So here I am painting with the desert gray, which is one of my favorite watercolors. You'll see why when it dries. It has this sort of bluish tint to it when it dries, and it gets this really awesome granulation going on in it. If you've never played with granulating watercolors, they are super fun to use. Really unexpected results and sort of adds to the vibrancy of the painting. Here I'm adding in a little bit more of the Payne's Gray just to give a little bit more of that darkness into it without adding black, to keep the colors rich and vibrant. And so then we're going to add in, this is my Inktense Deep Indigo pencil. If you've not ever played with Inktense, they're super fun to use. They are water soluble and they work like watercolor pencils, sorry, but they do dry to a permanent finish, so you can't re-wet them. So it's kind of nice to have that effect without, re-wetting them. Going in with my Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2s. These are also water soluble. This is the ochre color, and this is the warm set. I will have links to all of these products below as well, so you can take a look at that. You can see here that it's blending. This area down here is just still a little bit wet, and when it gets wet, it blends very much like the graphite that we had earlier. And here I'm going back in with some salmon, just to add a different color, maybe to play more off that bronze without being too literal. And I think that's it. So I really like the granulations going on there. Oh, I forgot I was going to add this. I forgot I was going to add this. So the final piece here is to add back some more white, and I do that by adding in acrylic gesso. I like this better than white paint because it gives it a little bit of texture as well. It doesn't matter what kind of gesso you use. I'm using a cheap one that I bought from Hobby Lobby or Michael's or somewhere like that. But I just like to add that in for texture, and you can see that it's sort of bringing some pieces forward by pushing others back, adding in lines and textures, and really giving this piece some layered effect rather quickly, which is something that I like. And you don't want to add too much either. You don't want it to be just completely gessoed out. And here we have one side of the piece. I really like the salmon color. Of course, I love that granulation down there at the bottom. On the other side, I love these marks that the tissue paper made, combined with the gesso, and that bronze color is really nice. And here's the final piece. Be sure to like and follow, and I'll see you in the next one.